Three, two, one. Welcome to the show. This is the STRONGCast podcast with Zach Evanesh. This is episode lucky number 13. I don't believe in bad luck. I believe in making my own luck, kids. That's why I got this crazy ass microphone that if you're not watching this on YouTube, you have no clue what I'm talking about. But I busted out some high-tech microphone to make me feel a little bit like Elvis. Now, if you're new here, make sure that you go to undergroundstrength.tv. That is my personal blog. Sign up for the newsletter. Going to hook you up with a special gift on bodyweight bodybuilding, as well as a training course that you could put to the test. No fads, no gimmicks, just results. So we are going to do this introduction. I'm going to pull this intro Q&A from a Facebook question I got on my fan page. Make sure you go to zaxfanpage.com, hit the like button. I don't know why I only have 8,500 likes. I think that's very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Need that shit to be double digits, 10,000, 20,000. Now, let's get to the question, and then we're going to be crushing episode number 13 with world record holder in powerlifting, Travis Mash. Many of you have heard about Travis because I've hosted his seminar at the Underground Strength Gym in Manasquan twice. He's a top weightlifting coach. He has been at a high level for a long time. He was the first man on planet Earth to beat Ed Cohn's world record. And let me tell you, it's quite interesting to see world records standing in the powerlifting world, many from the 70s and the 80s. That's before all the fancy gear was out. So I love it. Now, let's crush this question and let us crush STRONGCast number 13. How to build a strong mind, a strong body, and live a strong life. This question comes from Greg Melita. Hey, Zach, awesome job on the Barbell Shrugged podcast. Very inspired by your passion. I'm 29. I'm a BJJ black belt from Long Island. I was a sports performance coach for Parisi for a few years, and I've currently got my level 1 CrossFit certification. I just wanted to pick your brain. Do you do speed training similar to Parisi for your athletes in conjunction with strength training? Also, how do you explain the CrossFit affiliation when you don't run typical quote-unquote CrossFit classes? I totally understand it. I could see how it can benefit exposure, marketing, etc. I also believe CrossFit is more of a fitness mindset of finding the best fitness methods for your goals than it is a prescription of movements. But as far as explaining it to people just looking to do CrossFit, to me, CrossFit is just like the Jeet Kune Do of fitness. It takes what's useful, rejects what's useless, then makes it into a sport to prove its fitness. Anyway, I just wanted to reach out. I'm inspired by your work to start a BJJ Academy with the right approach to strength as well. Hope to get in touch. Greg Melita. Greg, my man, thank you for the question, and thanks for listening to the Barbell Shrug podcast. Let me tell you, you crazy kids, Barbell Shrug podcast went crazy after I got interviewed. It was mayhem all over Twitter and Facebook. In fact, the internets exploded, and so did my head. So, Barbell Shrugged hit number 6 on the Fitness and Nutrition Top 10 podcast, and that was on Wednesday when I was checking that out, or maybe it was Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday, February 19th and 20th, and then STRONGCast podcast hit number 7. Really pumped up for that. Jillian Michaels is number 3, Mark Sisson number 4, Abel James' Fat Burning Man I think was number 2 or number 5. Anyway, this is amazing company. Thank you guys so much. And make sure you guys leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. So now let's crush this question. It's actually 2 questions, Greg. He's getting a little crazy busting out 2 questions. Number 1, congratulations on being a black belt. Remember what I always say. Always be a white belt in your mind. Always want to learn. So from what I understand, and we train some black belts actually, or train a black belt and a very high level brown belt and a purple belt, these guys are, they tell me that, hey, when you get that black belt, that's just the beginning. And from the original Underground Strength Gym, our boy David Ellis is a black belt in judo and jiu-jitsu. Very humble, always wanting to learn. So, do I train speed the way Parisi trains speed? Well, to be honest with you, my brother, I have no clue exactly what Parisi does. Although one of our coaches actually splits time between the Underground and Parisi. Our focus is not just to do speed training. We want to teach athleticism. We want to teach them how to move. And oftentimes, more often than not, young athletes, and I'm talking athletes even in college, they're so damn weak that they can't even move properly. So we build a very, very, very strong foundation of fitness. And that means you don't just teach speed, you get them strong. You get them athletic. We utilize gymnastics. We do a lot of jump training. We do a boatload of bodyweight work, sled training. If you guys are members of the Underground Inner Circle, go to undergroundstrengthcoach.com. Plug, baby. I'm plugging that shit up. Go to undergroundstrengthcoach.com. You will see tons of video footage of our athletes training. And you'll notice we don't do speed ladders or all this sprint stuff. And you know what? None of our athletes are slow. The athletes that are slow are oftentimes weak or carrying excess body fat. So we like to make everything as explosive as possible, but first and foremost, we're focusing on getting them strong and athletic. And athleticism is really a blend of the ability to move, of being strong, and being explosive. So I hope that helps clear the air a little bit. Now on to your second question. How do you talk to people about, you not running a typical CrossFit class? Well, this has nothing to do with marketing, my man Greg. It has to do with what I believe in my heart. If any of you have listened to this podcast before, or if you watch the Barbell Shrug podcast, you know that what I'm talking about is I follow what's in my heart. I don't copy, but I always believe in evolving and getting better. And what I've learned is that when I introduce endless Metcons or lots of circuit and conditioning training, nobody feels great. They always feel beat up. They feel weak. They have this lack of energy. So what we like to do is strength endurance, power endurance. So we lift heavy enough. We don't do circuits, endless circuits, or timed stuff, because I found that lots of timed stuff tends to degrade the technique. So I focus on technique. Sure, we do timed or limit the time, but I'd like to train according to what I have found to work best. Not because I see the masses doing something. To me, that's just, I don't want to say that is completely the blind following the blind, but if you're just copying and not daring to do your own style of training, your own method, which is essentially, you mentioned, Jeet Kune Do, absorbing what is useful, rejecting what is useless, and blending it to your own. I have listened to the people that we train, and I've just been doing this for so long that I'm looking at, hey, this is what works. And yes, I see some of my friends are CrossFit Games competitors, or some of the, top coaches such as Kelly Starrett, Brian McKenzie. Not everybody. We can't look at what the men and women are doing in the regionals and the games and say that kind of programming is exactly what your members are going to need if you are running a CrossFit gym. Let me see if I answered your entire question here. And with you looking to start a BJJ Academy with the right approach to strength training, I'm going to tell you what, the adult men that I train, they are primarily jiu-jitsu guys. They love the training. We don't do all these endless Metcons, and they tell me how they're out there going through multiple matches, 5-minute rounds when they're training in jiu-jitsu, and they don't feel tired. 3, 4, 5 matches, and they say the other guys are sitting against the wall, huffing and puffing, and they feel great. And I'm going to tell you a big key to that is you don't kill people during the workouts. You want them to leave with some energy in the tank, and you want them to feel great about the training. If you crush them through constant Metcons, then all we're doing is building stamina, and they already get a lot of stamina work through jiu-jitsu. We want them to have strength, power and also leave it in the tank so they can perform. Training should never take away from what happens or what they do in day-to-day life. So I want you to take those things into account when you're looking at programming for jiu-jitsu versus programming for, everyday people. Do we do Metcons? Yes. But is it a mainstay in our program? No. I want people to be strong. I want them to be fit. I want them to be athletic. I want them to be agile, mobile, and hostile, baby. And that's it for this introduction to STRONGCast episode 13. Now it's time to get on with the next part of the show, the main stage. My boy, Travis Mash. Check him out at masheliteperformance.com. He's all over Facebook. He's doing a lot of traveling to go to these different gyms all around, not just the country, but all around the world, teaching his seminars. And those seminars are called Learn to Lift. They're weightlifting seminars. We actually just had that weightlifting seminar at the gym, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and that's when the Barbell Shrug guys were up here in New Jersey, and it was amazing. Once again, those of you listening, get to undergroundstrength.tv, sign up for the newsletter. Let me educate you, motivate you, inspire you to kick ass and take names in life and lifting. And here we go, on with the show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the STRONGCast, and I'm doing a standing desk. I ain't got time to sit down, and we ain't got time to be weak. I'm with my boy, Travis Mash, the Mash Monster, and I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction on this guy. We actually just spent a couple days together. He was out here in New Jersey for the second time running his Learn to Lift seminar. He sells out each and every time. It's a packed house, sells out these seminars. And the first one was really life-changing event for me. We're going to get into some of the things that Travis teaches and what we could learn from him. But I want to give you guys a little background on my man here. Former powerlifter, very high-level amateur competitor in both weightlifting and, not many people know this, bobsledding, which it throws me for a loop because these are some... these are some high-intensity sports that you're involved in. But Travis, when I talk to you, you seem like you're just like this laid-back, chill-out dude. But I guess you're that guy that could flip the switch when it's time to go.
Yeah, I've always liked the sports that are a little crazy. So, and the bobsled really fit my personality better than all of them. But I chose to stick with the lifting sports, though.
That is very amazing, and you don't really talk too much about that stuff, but I know these things because Travis and I, some years ago, our first, introduction was through, as many coaches, we meet one another through the internet, and Travis and I were on the Elite FTS Q&A, and Travis was competing as a powerlifter at the time, and also, I remember you were prepping to get on the USA weightlifting team, and you were posting videos. These are the early days of YouTube of you doing squats and cleans with chains, with bands, and you were taking the these dynamic effort methods that we see some people starting to do now. But this was before I owned a gym, so I'm saying this was about we're talking about this was about 8 years ago that you were doing these things. So let's just give everybody a little introduction from you, a dialed-in intro about your background in the bobsledding, the weightlifting, the powerlifting. You're a world champion powerlifter, but you are so you're just a humble guy, and I don't think people know. So I want to let people know who we got here on the STRONGCast.
All right. Well, started out. I played college football at Appalachian State University, and as soon as that was over, I went straight to the Olympic Training Center. Well, I actually went to Colorado Springs because there was no weightlifting anywhere to be found in North Carolina. So I actually drove 23 hours to Colorado Springs, found a coach, Wes Barnett, two-time Olympian, and he trained me up. In a year and a half, I was at the Olympic Training Center, training, what I thought was hopefully going to be the year 2000. Then that was interrupted by my dad. My dad got stage 4 lung cancer. So I made the decision to come home and be with him. And when I came home, I decided to get into powerlifting because anyone can powerlift. If there's a barbell, you can powerlift. You can do squat, bench, and deadlift. And so I started that, and then that's when I got on Elite FTS's staff. I started doing good there. They started sponsoring me. And anyway, in 2004, I broke the all-time pound-for-pound world record in the 220 class. I totaled 24:10 at the time, which broke Ed Cohn's record. And then I broke it again in 2005. And then my dad, that's right when my dad passed away. He lived 5 years after that being diagnosed. And so it kind of threw me for a little loop. So then I decided I wanted to get back into weightlifting, and then that's when I made that crazy video with the bands and the chains. I wanted to try, like, I was super successful using those methods in powerlifting. Basically I got them from Louis Simmons, like we all have. And then, it went really well. I got really strong, and then I broke my neck. I did a crazy whitewater rafting trip. And, I'm sure it had to do with all the craziness of my life. But I broke was it C5? It was just, when I say break, it was just a small fracture. But it really messed my radial nerve up pretty badly. And so, but then along the way, during all that craziness I just told you about, I was recruited around 1998 to be on the U.S. bobsled team. So I got a chance to go to Lake Placid. Even had a chance to go to Utah, where they also have a track. And so, anyway, I tried out, did pretty well, but I had to make the decision to stay with weightlifting. Some people do both, but I was like, I made the decision just to stick and try to perfect one instead of being kind of good at both. But anyway, that sums it up. And now I'm just, training athletes all the time and loving it.
Yeah, so real interesting to see that you were doing things, competing at this high level, while also going through some serious tough times in life with your dad. And it's just, I think overcoming. What I've learned is that emotional stress is like 20 times harder on the body than a hard workout. The physical stress. How did you stay focused you were the first guy to break Ed Cohn's world record?
I was.
And so you're setting world records, yet you're going through probably the toughest emotional time of your life. Right. What were some of the things you did, I think, to organize your life, to find a way to focus and be successful?
Well, if you want to know the truth, probably what I did, I wouldn't recommend. I started obsessing, in powerlifting to kind of get my mind away from the fact that my dad was dying. And so I would not recommend doing what I did. Breaking a world record is one thing, but then I don't think, what I did was neglect everyone other than my dad for the sport of weightlifting. And so, for the sport of powerlifting. And so I wouldn't recommend doing that. You can do all those same things, but staying focused, keep loving people. So obsessing is not a good thing. And a lot of people just tend to do that. So
what's really cool is that, what you just said is like just having fun, loving people. That's one thing that really stands out about you that, I think people they learn that when they're around you in person. You're just like a real like sweetheart kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and interestingly, yet you have like I said, you could flip the switch. Like you coach people to be at this high levels. You perform at a high level. Your wife is training and competing at this high powerlifting level, and you've got yeah. She's crushing it. And then you've also got your gym. And I know you have a couple parts to your gym. You have the weightlifting section. And then you guys have CrossFit and training for warriors. So talk to us about how what role you play in your gym. Just talk to us about the gym and how you're involved with it.
Right now, I have a CrossFit coach, Will Hall, who is simply awesome. He just won a big regionals competition here and won $3,000. So he is killing it. He snatches 300 pounds, clean and jerks 375 as a CrossFitter. Then we have the weightlifting section. That is more, I'm probably more involved there than anywhere else. So I have high-level athletes like John North. I have Jacob the Rabbit Wyatt, one of the top 69 kilo lifters. So we're recruiting 3 others. We got hopefully Donnie Schenkel, Jared Ennerton, and we got a guy coming from New Mexico. So that is where I'm more intimately involved. But then we have over 100 athletes, of which over 50 of them are Division I recruited athletes. And so I do all their programming, and I make sure that I'm in touch emotionally, but I have coaches who do a lot of the coaching.
Okay. Here's what's I want to ask you is that, so you're running this weightlifting section of your gym, and people, we're going to link up your YouTube channel so people could see all these videos.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, people are crushing it. Talk to us about kind of the system of what happens when somebody wants to join the weightlifting portion of the gym. How do you organize it? Is it like, hey, if you could show up at 6, show up at 6? Or is it like, boom, we're going to start you from this introductory, these introductory movements. You're going to spend X amount of time doing this. Then I'm going to allow you to do this next step. Are there certain stages? How does somebody start training weightlifters properly?
If somebody was a rookie weightlifter, and basically when I say rookie, who have never done weightlifting and want to get into it, they're going to start with just like stabilizing those positions. So like overhead squats, front squat, standing military presses, pull up. I'm going to condition the scapula region and, mainly focus on mobility. Because here's the thing. If a weightlifter cannot squat super deep, meaning if they can't comfortably have their hamstrings resting on their calves, they're just never going to be a great weightlifter, because no matter how strong you are, the lowest man is always going to win because they don't have to pull the bars high. So that's a huge advantage. So that's what I would do. Just start in those stages. SOTS press. You know what a SOTS press is?
Yeah, when you get to the bottom and overhead press.
Right. That's a great one. That's another one I would add in that little list of like introductory exercises.
With a barbell in the front or the behind the neck, where would you want them to do?
Both. I like to do the rack position of the front squat, and then I like to do behind the neck for the snatch grip.
Right. Now, what is the youngest age somebody can start training in that weightlifting area with you?
Believe it or not, we have 7-year-olds that I'm introducing to the sport with like PVC pipe, but I introduce them to all different kinds of like training.
Right.
Like I'm going to do gymnastic movements, sprint training, jump, body weight, and then we'll start to do some of the movements. So you could say that even at 7, because that's how the Russians or Bulgarians introduce those young guys. They don't just say, hey, let's snatch clean jerk.
Right. They did physical culture.
Right, man. Just like you would, I saw your son. That's exactly the way I would train my son. Let him climb. Let him, like, carry heavy things. There's nothing wrong with that.
It was, my son spent almost the whole day with us at the Learn to Lift Level 2. And he really loves it. And I don't tell him, lift this, do that. I let him climb. He climbs the ropes a lot. He sees us doing clean and press. He's only 5. He takes the 10-pound dumbbell and knows how to do a clean and press just from watching. And you know what's interesting? Which I'm not, and there's certain ways, like you and I were like not fans of technology, but then he watches YouTube. But he watches my YouTube channel. He watches you guys weightlifting. He watches Instagram videos of the weightlifters. And it's amazing that he's like fell in love with it. And yesterday, he went to my other gym, and my wife picked him up after 3 hours. She was up north, and he cries when he leaves.
See, you know what, man? When we were young, we did a lot of what your son does. Climbing, jumping, maybe we'd fall, get hurt, learn not to do that. And so, but now a lot of the kids don't have those opportunities. They don't have a lot of PE. And so, my 7-year-old actually, what they're getting, or the young ones, they're just learning how to move, and how to do certain movement. So you don't have to, when they're 12 years old, teach them how to climb. I mean, that's crazy. Like, I just knew how to climb because I climbed when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's I tell coaches, I go, never, when they say, oh, I want to train high school athletes, I go, well, never underestimate just how weak they're going to be when they show up. Like, you guys think you're
yeah.
going to be able to do squatting, snatching, benching.
No way.
You're right. We do things that almost involves minimal, like movement, meaning you farmer walk, you push a sled. I don't even have them. A lot of them in the beginning can't even squat, which you showed us at Learn to
Yeah.
Lift. You're like, man, we give them a box and we pile it up, and they literally just sit back a few inches. Then we remove a mat. So it's definitely it's unfortunate, but that's
Yeah.
where we come in, and that's where we got to change the world with this. What about organizing when for coaches out there listening, whether it's a high school strength and conditioning coach or guys like myself, when you have a group of weightlifters
Right.
in your gym, do you organize them according to their level? So you have,
Yeah.
I saw some high school, like a lot of high school kids lifting in your gym. Does a brand new high school kid get to come and train at the same time that the experienced high school kids come?
I like to have my 4 o'clock. Here's the way I organize it. I have my rookie weightlifters at 1 o'clock. I have my advanced weightlifters at 3 o'clock. Then at 4 o'clock, I have my rookie athletes come in, younger athletes, rookie, brand new. And then at 5 o'clock, I have my studs come in. And at 6 o'clock, whoever couldn't get in comes in. You know what I mean? Like that last one. Yeah, absolutely. But if someone can't make it at those perfect times, they can come in because we have enough coaches that I can break them off. Like I can have one guy or one or two dudes go with the coach over here, and then my advanced guys over here. And so, because I don't, I don't want just because someone can't fit fit it in their schedule, not be able to work out.
Right.
So,
Now, the thing that always crushes me is that my earlier influences in the strength and conditioning came from powerlifting, and probably that like 8 to 10 years ago, powerlifters had nothing good to say about weightlifters.
yeah,
They said they're weak. It's that's it. Oh, your start from the floor is slow, and I always say, man, I wish I learned earlier. And I'm 38. I really just started learning. You came to the gym in the fall, right?
right.
Was that the first time in the fall? And before that, I was really just trying to learn off of YouTube videos. And it's the mobility issue is very tough. Talk to us about guys like myself who spent a lot of years doing powerlifting. We're tighter than the norm. Our like T-spine and overhead mobility is not good. What are some critical things you want guys like us to be working on?
If I were you guys, if you're trying to do the sport of weightlifting now, is I would focus more mobility for a while. So like pause front squats, sitting in the bottom. Not only pause, but learning to breathe and relax, and sit into that movement. Learning to keep a vertical spine while front squatting. I know in powerlifting we're taught to sit way back. You got more of that horizontal spine. We can't catch a weight with a horizontal spine and it'll fall.
Right.
So now we gotta be shifted. Our hips need to be closer to our ankles so we can be vertical. So that would be one. I showed you that potato squat.
Yep.
That's money right there. Like doing a potato squat with a kettlebell where you hold the kettlebell underneath it and just sit in that movement and learning to sit, thrust your chest forward and then relax while the weight pulls you down, and then overhead squat. That's all I would do. I would do potato, front, overhead squat until those movement patterns are stored. When I first came back from powerlifting into weightlifting, it took me a solid year just to get my movement patterns back.
Gotcha.
I was so stuck. So yeah, people got it totally wrong too about weightlifting. The weightlifters, if they decided to powerlift, no offense to anybody, but like Kendrick Ferris, Johnny Schenkel, they would rule powerlifting too. They're strong.
Yeah, they're crazy strong.
Crazy strong.
Crazy strong, and they're also very lean. I mean, I think we're seeing more powerlifters, I think, getting leaner now, but I feel like years ago it was just like get big, add weight in any which way you can, so it was definitely a bit unhealthy. It was definitely a bit unhealthy, and I think we're making like a bit of a comeback to be healthy and be strong.
I think it's because we're going back into the raw. Fat is not going it's not going to lift weight, but like the extra bloat and fat was good for the equipment. It actually caused more, I guess it would cause more tension in the equipment.
Yep.
So it would work.
Right.
But, fat doesn't help when you don't have equipment on, and so you got guys like Dan Green. That's the way. Even back then, the better powerlifters. Like I was lean, Matt Krozlowski, he's lean.
Sure.
But
you're right. The guys were lean. Even when you, I was looking at, I think in Mark Bell's last Power magazine, he had like the all-time like top 20s. And what's interesting is that a lot of the records are from guys from the 70s and 80s still.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's been like, so we're talking like 20 to 30 years that some of the best records are still being held.
Yeah, because those dudes focused on those. Yeah, those records were the raw records, and back then, they focused on that. I think now there's going to be a shift back. Records are falling right and left now in the raw category because that's the focus.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let me go back to some. You're talking about just being healthy and mobilizing. At the level 2, you said do your mobility work with weights. So essentially, you said overhead squat, SOTS press, versus how much mobility do you guys spend doing things like rolling on the foam rollers, lacrosse balls, or is that part of the recovery and not looked at as really mobility?
No, we spend as much effort on mobility as we do on strength.
Okay.
Every single day. My athletes especially, like we focus on mobility. Because guess what? If I get a 275-pound lineman who's already very athletic, if I get him more mobile, he's going to be faster, he's going to move better, and that's going to get him a scholarship more than a 600-pound squat in.
Yeah.
So we focus on that. Even with my weightlifters, all the time we focus on mobility. Even in their training, they don't realize it. But when I'm doing the paused work, and they'll know what I'm talking about, like pause overhead squat, pause front squats. That's my way of sneaking mobility into their workout.
Yeah. Those, when you came, I never did pause work until level 1 seminar. And I started doing pause work in all my squats and my bench.
Right.
And I started just spending more time under the bar, and I've broken a couple of records. And so my squat is getting back up. I haven't squatted, like my squat was pretty crappy since my ACL surgery about, I think I had surgery about, I may have been 26 or so, maybe 27, so about 10, 11 years ago. And I feel like 365 would feel heavy for me,
right,
which is weird because I used to squat about 100 pounds more than that, but now it's climbing back up. The pause bench, I feel, made me very strong.
I think if you practice the pause bench, personally, I can do more pause now than I can touch and go. It's just a technique. People don't realize how smart the body is. And if you practice those movements, like pause, your body will learn those movements, and it will start to get better at them. It's like when you practice football, throwing a football. If you practice over and over, you become more efficient at the movement pattern.
Yeah. So, talking about football down in North Carolina, I mean, that is, football is huge down the south.
Oh, yeah.
And I know some kids are allowed to finish high school, like around their senior year, around the new year. They get to go to college early. And the kids, from what I've seen, are really big down there, meaning like they're just like farm boy big. What are some things that you're doing with the football players to better prep them for college, and just to prep them, not just for the sport itself, but also so they make the transition into college football? Because you played college football, you said. What are some things we should be doing with the seniors prepping to go for college ball?
Number one, if you want to give them an edge, teach them the movement patterns correctly. Like, teach them how to squat and clean and bench correctly. And right away, like the coach at NC State, the head strength and conditioning coach there, actually gave me a call and thanked me because I sent him several of my athletes.
Yeah.
They all moved well. And so not only, but then once you get an athlete, like I have one now at NC State named Cole Blankenship. unbelievably strong, super fast, 300-pound lineman who runs a 4.940. So he's fast, he's explosive. So what we focused on the last section of his training was nothing but movement, how to move laterally. I wanted to make sure his hips moved well, and so because at that next level, like those guys can move, and so that's what we focused on.
So you taught him like quote unquote speed and agility work?
When you say speed and agility, yeah, agility I don't like because we don't do any ladders or well, we put it in a warm up, but that's not agility.
Okay.
We teach them how to decelerate. We teach them like the intricate parts of speed. But also get them mentally prepared. Like put them under intense situations. A lot of like yelling. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what's going to happen.
True.
90% of all strength and conditioning coaches in college are going to give you that fear factor, and it's almost like a boot camp. So I start getting them ready for that mentally because, I don't want any of my athletes calling, crying about like, they can't handle it. So I get them ready, no doubt when one of my guys goes on to college, they are ready. I've never gotten a call saying I wasn't prepared.
Do you guys do, on the days that you're lifting, do you have them do their speed work or lateral work and then do their weightlifting or
Yeah.
how do you, or do you sometimes hit the weights and then have them do speed work?
Sometimes, but normally, like, I try to do the speed first. I'm a big believer, I know Coach Ken from the Panthers, he's a big friend of mine, but, he's a big believer in like, mixing it up and doing it all over, but I try to make it efficient, and I believe, I'm more of a Martin Rooney type of guy, and I will do the fastest things first. So speed, then the Olympic weightlifting, and then the power movements, and then, the core conditioning. And then at the very end, we'll do total conditioning, like getting them GPP increased.
Yeah.
So that's how I tailor things.
When when you're teaching somebody the weightlifting drills, let's say you came to my gym and a group of athletes rolled in, what would you start doing them? You would start teaching them the positions with the bar, position 1, 2, 3?
Just like I taught the group, and it's pretty simple, just that one position. Probably I would just teach them how to do like, a clean pull, position 1. Then when everyone got that, then we would learn the rack position, position 1, and then work our way down. And so that's how all my guys here learn.
And how much time would you spend? Would you start teaching them with the PVC pipe?
10 to 15 minutes, man. Because you know what? They're not weightlifters. They're there to become better athletes. So I don't want to spend the whole session teaching them how to do cleans and snatches. I would progress them as they learn. If they learn quicker, look, I won't hold anybody back. If I got a super stud who's learning quickly, I'll break him off to somewhere else, and he'll advance it. So I won't hold anybody back. It's not high school where we're in high school gym class. These dudes are there to get awesome. And so, but if someone's having trouble, I won't force them ahead either. I will make sure. Look, here's the main thing. If a person has to, number one, front squat correctly and over squat correctly, if they can't do that, they're not going to progress anyway, because they won't be able to do it like I like my standards at my standards. So that's what we do. 10 to 15 minutes per thing. I have every single section of the workout measured with time.
What's a workout? 1 hour with you guys, or hour and a half, or
until it's completed. And so I'm not going to put them on this stopwatch and say, "Whoop, time's up. We're not going to finish." Sometimes what I'll do is there's only, say, conditioning left or GPP work. I will take an advanced athlete and be like, "Look, you finish these dudes up." And that gives them a chance to form that leadership skill. So.
Yeah, excellent. So you're going to throw overhead squats into those workouts with these kids?
Every workout. They're going to do an overhead squat normally every single workout.
Yeah. With starting with the PVC pipe and then going into a loaded position?
Correct. And then like they'll stick with the PVC. When I say every day, it's PVC every day. And then then there'll be certain segments of the weekly workout where they'll do overhead squats.
Nice. And what kind of like sets and reps you like to see with those overhead squats?
Overheads we won't go above 5. 5 reps, 3 to 4 sets. And so we're big on doing rep maxes instead of like saying 85% or 80%. We will figure out a rep max. It's easier to track.
Yes.
It's the same. You're progressing just like you would, but it's easier to track. So Like an athlete can overhead squat 150 for 5 this week. Next week they're going to try to do 155 or 160.
Cool. And you have those kids record their workouts, Travis, or?
Heck yeah, dude. There's no way I can record, 100 athletes workouts. So
Yep.
we sheets. We've tried it so many different ways, but the best way is like with sheets. And then here's the way: if an athlete is serious, they'll do it correctly, and if they're not, they won't. And then when I see that they're not doing it, I will call them out. Because all of my athletes, normally, everyone that comes to me is on the mindset of, or at least one of their goals is collegiate sports or higher. So if they don't fill out their sheets, I will just refer them back to their own goal. But you told me you want to play Division One soccer or Division One wrestling, yet you can't even fill your sheet out. Are you really serious about your goal? And either they'll quit, which is fine, or they'll start to see they need to be more responsible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What kind of membership goes on at that gym? They just sign up and train until they stop, or what do you have there to?
It's a month. I don't do a monthly. It's just like you sign up for a month. You don't hit the road, because I don't want an athlete that's there. I listened to you years ago say, but don't let like one or two athletes ruin it for everybody.
Yep.
So number one, if an athlete is not, they don't fit my culture, which is a culture of excellence. I mean, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Like, this is not the place to be to just kind of work out. It's excellence. So if they don't fit that culture, I'm going to say hit the road.
Yep.
And probably what's going to happen before I even tell them that, they're going to hit the road anyway.
Right.
They're going to see craziness, and so
they weed them. Yeah, they weed themselves out. No doubt about it. So I'm wearing this shirt of yours. I do what I want, man. Do I love this shirt?
I love it too. I've got my Max Out Friday on.
Max Out Friday,
yeah.
And we're going to talk about Max Out Friday as well. But let's talk about Attitude Nation and the philosophy behind it. So if I if I go to the website, it's the Attitude Nation, and on the front, let's see, on the home page, my computer's a little bit slow down here. It's got these really cool quotes, and it's like it's about life, and you're doing this with John North, and it says, Attitude Nation, a lifestyle of doing what works best for you, love your life or change it, a family of black sheep saved by sport, AC up, windows down, courage and confidence to be free. Damn, dude, I love that. I think it just speaks a lot about, it's like life and lifting going hand in hand. Talk to us about Attitude Nation. Like, what is this?
It sums you up, doesn't it? The whole, like, love your life or change it.
Yeah.
Like, teacher, but yet you knew you wanted to be with your family more, and you knew you wanted to work with athletes. So, eventually you had to grab your nuts up and go do it,
Yep.
So, but it's just saying that. And what I would say is this: love your life or change it. But, maybe you've got a family, and so you can't just quit your job. What we're saying, take steps towards doing what you love. Like if you want to be let's say that you're doing construction, you want to be a college professor. We'll start taking classes towards that. And then black sheep means don't do what society tells you. Do what makes sense for you. Like, one thing, like, for example, like, my wife is pregnant. We got baby Nash on the way.
Yep.
I will not have my child, get caught up in today's society, of like, a girl has to look a certain way, be a certain way, or a boy needs to do a certain thing. I want them to do what makes sense based on our morals, our values, and our love of Christ. And so that is black sheep to us. But black sheep to you might be doing whatever you feel that you should do. So
yeah, very cool. So I love it because before we hopped on the Skype, and I've gotten the question several times, and you being a strength coach and a weightlifting coach and really a performance coach, like, you can relate to this because you've been around much longer than me. You're extremely experienced, but the question that I get a lot is, what certification will make me nationally recognized? What certification will allow me to get into the high schools? And the first thing I tell them is, if your first focus is on being recognized, that's not good. Your focus has to be on improving your coaching skills so you can change the lives of others. Yet I do understand that, you know, if you're going to be at the college level, you must have your CSCS.
Correct.
But the reason why I say those things is because I remember when I was first getting into being a coach, I had heard about, you know, the gold standard, and I knew a guy that was training a national champ wrestler, and he sent me and I asked him if he could just let me see the workouts, and when I saw the workouts, they were so horrible, I lost respect for trying to be nationally recognized, and I said it's all about results. So, you know, that I love this. Like, I do what I want, and I think that if nowadays, you know, with coaches truly popping up on every corner, it's so easy to open your gym, right? Even a mom said to me, she asked me, what makes you guys different? I see I see a gym on every corner now, she said to me. And, you know, I laugh because that is the truth. And I feel like, you know, what do you think is going to help? What do you think is like some key elements that make somebody be great, not just at coaching, but whatever? You're a chef, you're a construction worker, you know, you're a weightlifting coach, but you work around a lot of different people. What do you think are some key elements that people need for excellence?
Well, number one, if you don't love this industry, definitely not the industry to be in, because there are lots of easier ways to make money. Let's be serious. So, like, you gotta love what you do, love getting people better, love getting people faster, but you also gotta love people. Like, I invest a lot of time, a lot of effort into my people, my athletes, my adult athletes, my younger athletes. You know, they all know too, without a doubt, that I love each and every one of them, and so they know with all confidence that if there's something out there that's better, I'm going to find it. I'm in a constant search for new information, for doing things better. Like, I'm reading a Brzezinski book on programming right now, you know, trying to learn new things. And so, as far as certification, I mean, I have my own too, but those are jokes. Let's be serious. Even with CSCS, I mean, it's hard to get. All right.
Mash Monster, you there, bro?
Yeah, man. Sorry.
That's all right. I think the weather out here in New Jersey is definitely getting the best of us. So, you know, we'll get back to it. No sweat. You were talking about excellence. Number one, loving what you do. Number two, being an aggressive student of whatever your practice is.
Right.
That's where we lost you.
Yeah, trying to be like constantly, you know, better and better and better. Like, I've told all my guys, all of my coaches, and all my athletes, if I get to the point where I feel like I know everything, and we know those coaches, those guys, they get a certain age, you know, like, I know everything. If I ever get like that, tell me, and I'll retire and turn it over to someone else.
True.
So you got to produce results, man. Who cares about being recognized, like you say? But you know, if your athletes start crushing it, guess what? You'll get people.
Yeah, I think if you, I mean, I know that the bottom line is if that you truly and genuinely care, then you're going to find a way to get recognition through producing results, which I think is like, to be honest, I mean, I know there's a lot of coaches listening, but there's also a lot of non-coaches, but from a business perspective, you know, honestly, Travis, like, your website and all these things, they're not the most tech savvy. I mean, you just recently got your website redone, but now that you started doing these seminars and producing results, people talk. Like, you started only really doing these seminars, I feel like, a year ago, not even.
Really, you were like let me think about that. You might have been like my second or third one, the very first one we did there. And so now we're booked up for the whole year, though.
So you really started doing this in the fall and it's mid-February, so like 8 months ago. And this past seminar was fully packed, and my gym's not that big, but there was definitely like 25 or so lifters there.
We turned plenty away. I had to turn people away. Like I let one more slip in that I probably shouldn't have. But yeah, good.
You're all heart, that's why. Without a doubt, like I really try to get that across to these coaches is that, following up on really, this shirt, I do what I want, the philosophy behind, the Attitude Nation of being the black sheep is
Right.
you got to stop caring about what the masses think, because as soon as you do that and you're just kind of fitting into the norms, you're really a commodity. You're not doing anything that stands apart. And I'm not talking about standing apart for the sake of standing apart. I'm talking about you believe in something. You've got like ownership over it. You've put some creation to it, and that shines through a lot. That's really, I think people could see that versus somebody who is I'm going to train senior citizens. I'm going to train young kids, I'm going to train adults, this, that. I'm going to train anybody that wants to, whip out their dollar. Whereas I always found that for me, whenever I veer from what's truly in my heart, which is working with athletes, shit just doesn't fly. And
Agree.
Yeah. So it's really cool to see that what you have going on is like, hey, man, I teach people weightlifting. I teach people how to get strong, and that's that. And like you mentioned I was listening to the podcast you do with the Barbell Shrug guys, and they said, hey, man, you teach this stuff in such an easy to understand manner. Like, you're not trying to complicate it. And really, you could complicate it if you wanted to, quote unquote, fit in, right?
Yes, I just refuse to do that. Sure, I could talk, percentages and, we could talk about, I don't know, work capacities and just insane stuff, but why? It's not that hard. Dan John is one of my go-to dudes.
Yep.
He keeps it simple. People love him. He gets results. So that's what I stick to.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to close this out with a question. Since you did talk about it in the beginning of a STRONGCast that you had the tough times with your father passing away. What are some life lessons you've learned this past year? Things that have happened in life that have helped you become a better man, a better person. Is there anything that really stood out that's helped you grow?
Well, I'm going to tell you about this is what happened with me. Obviously getting closer with Christ, with God. My wife learning to. I find this is the more I love other people and the more I focus on loving them and loving God, the more like peace and the more patience I have. My life is happier, and that's all I can tell you. If you're so self-absorbed and self-focused, all you think about is something to do with yourself, it'll drive you crazy. And it did me. It literally drove me insane because all I wanted to do was get better and better and destroy more people and I wanted to just rule the world of powerlifting. That's all I thought about, and my whole world, crumbled down. So I would say if you will spend at least a big part of your life loving other people and focusing on that, and I would say you spend time, loving God, I think your whole life, I know your whole life will be altered.
Wow. Awesome. That was great, dude. And I really appreciate you, everything. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate our friendship. I have such a great time when we get to hang out, and I want to. We spent a lot of time together these past like 8 months.
Man. Yeah, we've been in Miami together. We've done all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
it's definitely been great. So I'm gonna have to make a trip down there and spend some time with you again, of course. And let's tell people where they could find out about you. You guys have your podcast, you have your website, you have you're traveling for seminars. So let's give people a couple good places that they can connect with you. And also for those of you listening on iTunes, I will link everything up on the blog at undergroundstrength.tv. I'll link up all these places you could connect with Travis.
All right, so you can go to MASH Elite, MASH Elite.com to find out about our seminars, our online coaching, all of our products, our T-shirts. And so you can go to Spreaker.com and search Weightlifting Talk, and that's our podcast. Our podcast is probably the most popular thing that John North and I both do.
So funny.
I know. He's funny. Together we're both funny, but he is just outrageous and people love it.
Yeah.
He's going to do whatever he wants to do. I respect that about him.
Yes.
He's probably not going to let anyone tell him what to do. And then you can go to YouTube, Travis Mash, and then Twitter, Mash Elite, Facebook, Instagram, Mash Elite Performance.
Yes, I will link everything up. And where are you traveling, like, coming up? Like, are you West Coast? Where are you heading?
Well, next, in March, we're going to be in Miami.
Yep.
Where I love to live. We'll also be one here in Winston-Salem, a super camp where we're going to go over speed, teaching speed. We're going to go over powerlifting, weightlifting, and then gymnastics. So I got a couple coaches that are going to be coming in helping me with that one. And they're all over the country. We're going to be in Orlando. We're going to be in Canada. We're going to be in London. We're going to all over the place. So you go to mashelite.com, take a look at Rhode Island, Myrtle Beach. I'm pretty excited. It's fun. My wife and I love to travel, and so we're going to get to travel. And next year I'm not going to do so many because I'll have Baby Mash.
Baby Mash is on the way. And
right.
What's the date of that big camp that you have coming up?
I think that's March 15th will be the one. 15th and 16th will be the big speed camp. And then the one in Miami will be the very next weekend.
Awesome. Very cool. So, everybody, thanks for tuning in to the STRONGCast. We're here with Travis Mash of Mash Elite.
One more thing. I have a friend, Lisa G, who has stage 4 lung cancer. And we're doing a meet at my place, a 2-day. We're going to do weightlifting on Saturday, powerlifting on Sunday. And it's called Lift for Lisa. So if you go on it's in March too, the last weekend in March. Hey, buddy.
That's my daughter.
Oh, is she feeling better?
She's feeling better. Yesterday, got some IV fluids. We had to take her to the hospital yesterday, but she's tough. She's amazing.
She's had a rough few days, but you can go to Lift for Lisa and come, work out, train or compete with us, and then she also has. GoFundMe at GoFundMe.com.
I will link that up and spread the word.
Especially on my website, MashElite.com.
Yeah, awesome. I'll definitely help spread the word. You're an amazing guy, amazing coach. We'll be seeing you again. My family wants to get down anyway for some warm weather, but it's snowing by you too.
I'm looking out my window right now. It's not warm. This is not the place to be.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is great. We'll definitely have to crush a part 2. And everybody listening, make sure you go to undergroundstrength.tv, sign up for the newsletter, hook you up with some free training courses, and we'll be able to spread the word more about what we do. Just, I love it. I do what I want, being a black sheep. Travis, it's just been great, finally us actually being able to hang out in person and really cherish our friendship. Thanks so much, my man. And everybody, we're grateful that you guys are listening. Thanks so much. Make sure you go to iTunes, give us a 5-star review, and we'll talk to everybody later. Peace.